Hey, it's Chris, and yes, the Apple event just wrapped up, the High Speed event, where Apple introduced 4 new iPhone models and a HomePod Mini. This is just my reaction video. I just want to go through the event and talk about the things that I found most exciting. And along the way, I'll let you know which iPhone models, that's right, models, I'll be ordering, and just give you some initial thoughts on the whole event. Should be fun. Let's start things off by talking about this new HomePod Mini. Now, I have a feeling a lot of people are about to jump on the HomePod bandwagon. Let me just say, I've been there. I've been a fan of the HomePod since the beginning. I have always had it in my house and have enjoyed it. I've loved it. A lot of people didn't jump on board, I think because of the price, mostly, of the original HomePod. So now, with this mini form factor and much smaller price tag, this just became a super compelling device, I think, to so many people. And I was really surprised by the size the first time I saw a hand right up next to it in the video. Did you notice that? How small this actually is? It really looks mini. It's not huge. I'm gonna order so many. And that's true. I just have to say, this feels like a really fun time to be an Apple person. For a while there, people were saying, you know, it feels like Apple's just kind of not innovating and things are getting stale. But this event was genuinely exciting. I'm talking about for real Apple users and fans, not people on the sidelines booing, but people actually using Apple products. I found this to be a really exciting product because it was different than I expected it to be. I was expecting a product that was maybe a little bit taller in shape and cylindrical, and this is just very different than what I actually thought it was gonna look like. Now it says it has room-filling sound. That's interesting because that was the first question I had was, even before it was announced, what's it gonna sound like? If it's a mini, it can't sound as good as the original, as the bigger brother, right? But that's something you're gonna have to hit subscribe for and check out my actual review. I'm very interested though in all the ways that it integrates with the smart home because I did just move, I'm getting lots of smart home things set up, and so that in connection with the privacy that I've come to expect from Apple products could make for a really killer combo. The price though, that is the big story here. Only $99. I mean, what are the competitors? You can get like an Echo for really cheap, but this is not an Echo. This is a really good sounding speaker, supposedly, haven't tried it yet, that plays a really compelling role within the Apple ecosystem. I'm really excited now that this is gonna sync across multiple rooms and kind of give you that Sonos experience that a lot of Apple people have felt like they've missed out on. Just at this price point, it's a lot easier to stick one in multiple rooms. I'm extra excited about the new handoff feature, which will let you put your iPhone right next to this, and it's smart enough to know, with ultra precision, it sounds like, that your phone, not somebody else's, is right next to a particular HomePod Mini. And then so if you're listening to Andy Mineo or a podcast on your HomePod Mini, and then you put your phone up next to it, it'll just take it out of the HomePod, stick it on your phone, and you can be on your way. Stick in the AirPods, and you're good to go. One of the new features is that it can recognize multiple people that are talking to it. So you got, 4 people in the house, let's say. Well, if you say, hey, you know who, and activate it, it knows that it's you. And that personalization, I feel like, is really important. It is a shared device, but yet not everything, calendars, notes, contacts, needs to be accessed or shared by everybody in the house. Now, one of the most interesting new features I thought, this was something very unexpected for me, was the intercom feature. Now this is interesting to me personally because again, I'm setting up a bunch of new smart home stuff, just ordered the security system today, and here Apple comes out with this intercom so that instead of having a box on the wall where you press a button like in days past, now you can just use Siri to communicate with people across the house. And not just across the house, but it works with the Apple Watch. It's gonna work with people in the car, with CarPlay. Some people in the house might really like this, and some people, mostly kids, probably won't like it because it's just a new way for people to bug you, right? This is one of the things from the presentation that just bowled me over, completely unexpected, and I'm happy with it. The Mini works with all your different devices, but one place I think it's gonna be really popular is on people's desks because you can take phone calls with it, you can obviously listen to music, but you can control your smart lights, the ambiance in your space. Now it shows the Apple TV here. Again, we're back to how good is the sound because you can stereo pair these. So if you put 2 of these on either side of your home theater setup, is that gonna be good enough to be sound for your TV? These are the unanswered questions so far. So am I excited? Will I be buying? Yes, and yes, and yes. I'll be getting a few, maybe. I love how even the fabric was specifically designed for better acoustic performance. Don't you feel like the other speaker companies out there are just thinking about, well, how does it look like? What's the shape? But Apple's like, no, wait, let's make the actual fabric do something and not just for looks. It still looks good. It looks amazing, but this is just crazy. All right, well, let's move on to the iPhones now. For a lot of people, this is the main event, and the HomePod Mini was just like an extra dose of awesome. So right now, there's 4 different iPhone types that you can get. You can get the iPhone SE still. You can go check out my review on that. Still love that phone. Starts at $399. The iPhone 11 is still gonna be available. That starts at $599 right now. The iPhone 12 is obviously here. It's debuting, starting at $699. Although you wanna check the carrier discounts because I heard that it's really $30 extra without that discount. It just depends which carrier, so check. Then the iPhone 12 Pro is gonna be starting at $999. Now, I don't know about you guys, but the 2 things that I'm most interested in are the smallest new iPhone and the largest new iPhone. I've been saying for a long time that when I'm mobile, I like to have the smallest, most powerful device I can get with me. Because, you know, I can carry around a big camera, I've got a lot of those laying around, but I want something that's nice and mobile. When I'm at my desk, I can get the big screens out, the iPad Pro, and you know, the Mac with the ultra wide. But mobile, I like to be as light and powerful as I can get. So the new iPhone 12 mini really appeals to me in that sense. The Max though, has some special camera features. I think for the first time in a long time, it's not just like a matter of choosing the size. You actually get something very different at least in the camera department when it comes to the Pro Max. And we're gonna talk about it, I think pretty deeply in just a second, but let's go through some of the common features first. First of all, we got this new design, and this is really putting off some iPhone 4, iPhone 5 vibes. Am I right? So we've got these flat edges now, and it's weird because what's old is new again. But people, I think, really liked this and they wanted to see it, and here it is. Also, colors. We have a lot of color options to choose from this year. That's nice. There's obviously a new blue. We got this green. We got this red. We got this gray or white, and this black. And I'm excited about that, not just for the iPhones, but even for the iPad Air. You can really get some pops of color in your life and in your setup with all the different Apple stuff now. Now, obviously, people are probably gonna go nuts for this blue. I think that is going to be the must-have color for the regular iPhones this year. You can match that up with your Apple Watch now and kind of color coordinate there. And I guess same thing with the red. You know, people are probably gonna like that. Red's just like a staple with Apple these days. But this minty fresh Kermit the Frog green, people might be really into that. I kind of like that too. I gotta stay away from just the boring whites and grays this year. That's what I did this last cycle, and it's time for some color. I'm ready. Now, just to round out talking about the design here, we ended up with something that's 11% thinner, 15% smaller, 16% lighter. You might think back, especially in terms of like battery life, to a time not that long ago when thinner was the thing, and then people were like, no wait, don't go any thinner, I really just want better battery life, even if it gets a little bit thicker. So thin is back in, I guess you could say, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. One thing you can be sure of is that Apple's not gonna make something that has worse battery life. If anything, they'll just keep it the same. So if you can shrink that form factor and still get good battery life like you were used to, then that's okay. Now, one of the things I think I'm most excited about is that new ceramic shield. So until people can go hands-on with this, and you know whose channel is gonna be perfect for this, right? We don't know if you can replace a screen protector with this new ceramic shield. Like maybe you don't need one. I'm not big on screen protectors for my phone. You know, I just do without them. And I do end up with some micro scratches and it's okay. So for me, the idea of the ceramic shield and having this 4 times better drop performance, that's awesome. I tell this story all the time, but there was a time when I had my phone, brand new iPhone, I had it like less than a week, I think, in my pocket, sat down on a chair out on the porch, and it slipped out of my pocket and cracked, and it was expensive to go get fixed. And honestly, I think a lot of people are gonna be more excited about this ceramic shield, honestly, than the next big feature we're gonna talk about, which is 5G. 5G means a really fast data connection. I recently just got gig internet at the house. I'm really excited about that. But now to have those kind of speeds in the palm of my hand, that's just almost unimaginable for me. I haven't really used it yet, There's a lot of caveats that come with 5G. It's been out there for a long time. 5G has been a buzzword. People have talked about it, but it's only been available in these really little pockets of like major cities, basically. Now, what's interesting about the 5G on these new iPhones is that Apple's gonna turn it on when you need it, when it makes sense, and turn it off when you don't. Save some battery, get the most out of your performance. What that actually really means, I think, is that the 5G is not gonna be enabled much on your phone. So you might think like, I'm getting a 5G phone and it's just gonna be 5G all the time. Well, it's probably gonna have 5G enabled just a little bit of the time. Now, the example that they gave was like at an NFL game, where you can get 7 different angles of the action on your phone at once. And that's admittedly kind of cool. But what happens when you're like 3 blocks away from the stadium? You still have 5G? I don't know. The infrastructure may not be there quite yet. And look, I'm on T-Mobile. They talked about Verizon a lot up on the stage. I have T-Mobile right now, and I don't have the best coverage right now because I just moved. And so if I don't have the best just regular coverage, am I even gonna have 5G that's reliable and good for, I don't know. This may be something that's just more about the future still. Nevertheless, a gig per second coming to my iPhone, this iPhone kind of future-proofing for when things do roll out very reliably. Yeah, I mean, that's cool. I know a lot of people knock 5G, like, what's one compelling use case for 5G that'll let you do something crazy that you can't do on your old iPhone right now? Well, it is kind of tough to come up with an answer to that. But I can tell you, I have loved gig internet at the house. I've only had it for like less than a week. Downloads are super fast. It's nice. Now that I've had it, I don't want to be without it. Let's just put it that way. And I guess it's probably gonna be the same with 5G. So the new iPhones have a new chip. That's cool. It's the A14 Bionic. Not unexpected, right? 6-core CPU, 4-core GPU, neural engine with 16 cores, all of its own. It's a beast. Because of the performance, Apple is saying that you can get console quality gaming out of your iPhone now. That's quite a statement. And why that matters is, you don't have to be tethered to your desk now. This is the scenario that they're kicking out there for people. If you want to play something like League of Legends, which is coming now to your iPhone. Let's just be clear, when we're talking about speed, whether you're talking about 5G or you're talking about the processor, there's a lot of things that you just can't use those things for on launch day, on the event day, like this. These are really things that are gonna make a difference down the line in the future. And that could absolutely mean that you're trying to future-proof when you buy this. A lot of people have been hanging on to their iPhones longer than ever lately. And so if that's you, and this actually is compelling to you, then maybe you're gonna get this and sit on it, hang on to it for a long time, and feel like you're good to go for more than just 2 years. Now, I think it is important to point out that this is the same chip in the iPhone 12, the regular iPhone 12 and the 12 mini, as you'll find in the iPhone 12 Pro. So when you have to make a decision between the two, the 12 Pro or the 12, in terms of the processor, it really is just a matter of picking the size. Now, that's not the case when it comes to the camera, so let's talk about the camera next. The iPhone 12 and the 12 mini have 2 rear cameras, a wide and an ultra wide. Unless you go with the Pro, you're not gonna get a telephoto, which means you're gonna have to zoom with your feet, get a little bit closer, or maybe use an external lens, or as a very last resort, maybe have to use that digital zoom. One thing I was ultra excited to hear though is that both of the rear cameras on the iPhone 12s are gonna be able to do night mode pictures. When you're shooting in low light situations, you wanna let in as much light as possible. And previously, iPhones have struggled for me, especially in the video department, in low light situations. It's been very grainy, and I've had to really struggle with lighting when I've shot videos on iPhones in dark places. So the fact that the new wide camera is gonna bring in 27% more light, that really matters, to me at least. One of the things that Apple was showing off on stage was the new Smart HDR3 feature, and they're talking about, if the sun's behind you, making you kind of dark, then the iPhone's gonna be able to selectively know, hey, there's a face there, let's light that up a little bit. Let's make that more visible, make it look better. So that's cool. Now, I was also very excited for the video features that Apple talked about, including better low light video action, which sounds amazing to me. But honestly, I think that's gonna be really useful for everybody, not just people shooting professional video, but important moments happen outside sometimes or in a darkly lit room, and you wanna capture them in as good of quality as possible. Now, it really, I think, blew my mind as a professional video creator that I can now shoot and then edit 4K HDR video with Dolby Vision. A lot of people are gonna be like, wait, I don't need that. People said 5G was hype, this is hype. this is not hype, because think about all the stuff on Netflix that you enjoy with that Dolby and with that HDR. This is actually a really big deal for people, not to mention 10-bit video. I think one of the craziest things about this event was the announcement of the MagSafe feature on the back of these iPhones. So there's a magnet here now, and you can stick stuff to it. There's some official accessories. Slap a wallet on with the magnet. This is cool. Plus, it stacks. So you can have a case that snaps on. It sounds like Apple's cases now are just gonna snap on for easy installation. Then you can slap on a different accessory, maybe the wallet, on top of that case. I'm excited to see where this goes. This feels like something that can open up a lot of different possibilities in terms of, that's always been one of the best things about iPhones, all the accessories. And here's just this new avenue for companies out there to get creative with. Also very excited for that MagSafe in terms of wireless charging. I mean, I have this all the time where I set my iPhone down to charge and I don't quite get it right on the right spot. So to have it just magnetically snap where it needs to go on the charger, that's gonna be really cool. That's one of those things when people talk about the Apple Magic where Apple's gone ahead and thought about how can we make this just work? I'm gonna just plug this in before I run out of battery. All right, now let's talk about the iPhone 12 Pro and Max. The thing to notice right off the bat is that we've got 3 cameras on the back, plus this black dot here, which is the LiDAR sensor. Now the Max actually features the largest display ever in any iPhone. So if you really wanted a huge iPhone this year, then it delivers. You're gonna get it. And if you really wanted a smaller iPhone this year, I love how you can get that too. I like that there's so many options. Now, unfortunately, you are gonna have to pick between the Mini and the Max in terms of the camera specs. You're not gonna get the same camera specs in the Mini. Still though, the Max does make good use of its bigger size because it has a 47% larger camera sensor. Whoa. That means that we're gonna be seeing an 87% improvement in low light performance. Does anybody else think of Saved by the Bell when they hear about the Max? So really, we have a pro camera system here, no doubt about it, and that really is a feature that distinguishes at least the Max from just a run-of-the-mill iPhone now. So on the Max, you're gonna get a longer telephoto, well, the equivalent, 65mm equivalent. You're also gonna get a 5 times optical zoom on the Max versus just a 4x. And on top of that, you're also gonna get sensor shift stabilization. That's a big deal. This is something that's very DSLR-like. This is not something that you would think of as being in a phone. And what it's gonna let you do is stabilize a 2-second shot, just handheld. That's ridiculous. Something else that's really cool is that we're gonna get deep fusion now for all 4 cameras. Wait, what? There's only 3 cameras on the back. No, that 4th camera, the selfie camera, that's also gonna get deep fusion. So when you're in a low to mid light situation, then the neural engine is gonna come in, analyze the exposure, and bring out extra detail in the shot. I love that the ultra wide camera is getting better here because I use that all the time, more than I ever thought that I would. In fact, it's almost becoming my default. So to be able to preserve more detail in an ultra wide shot, that really matters. And look, a lot of people are becoming professional video people, whether they realize it or not. There's a lot of people in line to become the next YouTube creator or doing stuff on TikTok or Twitch or whatever. Like, video is just becoming a big deal. So to be able to shoot and edit that Dolby Vision HDR 4K 60 content, it's crazy to do that just all on the same device. So to summarize, I will be buying several HomePod minis. I'm also gonna get my hands on probably an iPhone 12 mini, I would say, for my personal phone, I think. And then in my professional world, I will order the 12 Pro Max just to make use of its video capabilities and its photo capabilities. You know, I end up using that stuff for social media. It's an important part of my workflow as a professional video person. So I'm gonna get both, one for personal, one for professional, like I always do if you're new around here. And throughout the next year, you know, I'll be telling you all about my experience with each in their different realms. And honestly, I can't wait. This was a really fun and exciting event. It only lasted an hour, you know, not the longest event in Apple history, but there was enough that I think Apple fans can be excited, stay excited. Not to mention the iPad Air. That was just talked about. I don't see that it's yet up for pre-order, but that's something that I want to get my hands on too. It's a good time to be an Apple fan. It's also a good time to hit the subscribe button because I can guarantee you I'm going to be reviewing all this stuff, going hands-on, in-depth, doing comparisons versus letting you know the thoughts over the whole next year. And so you don't want to miss it. Also, make sure you're subscribed to the After Party. That's our podcast. You can check me out. I'm at Daily Tech, spelled Daily TKK on Instagram and Twitter. And I'll catch you guys in the next video. Later.